Hello, students. Welcome back to your computer science class. I hope you all have had a good cup of coffee and you all are sitting with all your writing supplies, your notebooks, your textbooks, and your practical book with you. Because we are going to first discuss the answers to the three questions we did yesterday. All right? Okay. Before we do that, I need to introduce myself. I am Mrs. Jenny Shah, and I'm going to be teaching you all computer science this year. We are doing chapter 1, Python revision tour. Okay? All right, the first question was, for each, you have to write a single Python statement. So the first one was, tell the user your name or read it, ask the user for the name, read it, and assign the value to a variable. So name equals to input, enter name. Next was ask the user to enter age or read the age and assign it to a variable. So age equals to integer input, enter age. And then print out in separate lines your name, your age, and where name and age are the two variables. Now, when you are self-checking this, please make sure you have written this over here. Int, it is small I and not capital I. Another thing that here you are going to use two parentheses to close. Here you're using one parenthesis. Enter age, enter name should have quotes. Okay, your punctuators have to be correct. Besides that, your identifier, that is name and age, if you have used capital, you're using the same over here. All these things will matter when you write your board examinations this year. So please keep this in mind. Another important thing, print should be small p and not capital P. Your name is, and then you need to have a comma over here. Okay, if you finish checking this page and it's all great, give yourself a star. Or you could even make a smiley. Okay, moving on. The next one. You have to give me three legal names and two illegal names. So the first one I have used is car, which is simple like ABC or something. I wrote my name with an underscore, which is again valid. And then I did ABC1, which is I used a numeral, but I did it with ABC. In illegal names, I have written one ABC and I said variable name cannot start with a number. This was the identifier rule that I was going against, one ABC. Another one was Janisha with a space and a symbol. So variable name can neither have a space nor a symbol. So these are my three. When you all are checking, make sure you have used at least minimum two rules over here. One is cannot start with a number, cannot have a symbol, cannot have a space. Okay, and you know, you can use over here, you could have even done like A1BC, it would still be correct. In case you all have done something that you all are not able to self-check, you all can send them to me personally. Moving on to third question. What were the errors that these will solve? What was the errors that these will portray and why? In this code, we attempt to compute the product of M and X. But when you see this looks like a math equation. This is how we write in normal mathematics. But my Python doesn't understand. My Python will think it's an error because the operator between the operands, that is M and X, is missing. It should have been M asterisk X plus P. Okay, the asterisk is missing. Following code attempts to compute the first order effects of some physical process. You will think, ma'am, I don't know what this is. It is all alien and French to me. Yes, but as a programmer, you have to be ready to understand all pieces of code. And you are lucky to have only 3 pieces of code to understand. Let's just see what they're trying to do. Over here, we are saying cofactor equals to alpha into X and X. The error is right here. We don't even need to go further. What is alpha? what is X. They have not mentioned it. So this is the error. This is the reason why we are getting an error. We don't need to bother with the formula. We don't have to look at the logic. We don't have to understand anything else. Alpha and X are not declared. That is exactly what my Python is going to do. It's just going to look at the basic. It's going to try and understand. Because my Python doesn't understand first order effects or even LCM or prime. My Python understands syntax. My Python understands logic. And you have to do just that. Know the basic, the simple Python very, very well. So over here, alpha and X, they are both not mentioned. And so we will get an error. Whatever the score factor is, it will be, this can happen, no problem. All this is correct. The error is over here. Okay? I hope you all are clear with this. Okay. Before I end this class, okay, now this is the end of my last class. We're going to start. I want you all to, I'm going to give you all more homework, okay, because I felt these three were like really simple. So for next time, you're going to do question number 4. That is, you're going to take input and you need to convert it into float or integer, depending on what number you're reading. So what built-in function do you use to convert a string into a float? Demonstrate the function by converting the string 85 into a float number and assigning it to a variable X. What built-in function will be used to convert a string into an integer? And what happens when you try and convert a string into an integer, but the string is not a number? Next is, what would be the output of this code? Print, this is self-correct. You will predict the output and then you're going to check it on your own. Over here, you want to write this poem. It's an acrostic poem. Acrostic poem is basically a poem in which there are certain letters that form a single word when they are written one below the other. In this is an acrostic poem for peace. Okay, so over here, what you need to do is you need to just print this. You don't need to print these letters as big or bold. You're just going to print this on your screen, but you're going to use tabs and other methods to make sure that the letters P form a single line when you write this poem up. You're going to do this and you're going to send me a picture of it. This year, I'm going to keep a tab of all the work I'm giving you and you're doing, because I'm going to grade you based on it in your practical examination. Write a program to print the ASCII. This is the following ASCII art using the print statement. You can follow a few YouTube videos to understand how ASCII art works, but you have to be doing this not on Notepad. This has to be a Python program that you'll write, and that Python program should give you the output as this ASCII art. Okay, with this, children, I'm going to start my lesson now. Okay. Last class, we had stopped here. That was Python statements. I explained to you all there are 3 Python statements. Empty statement, which means there is nothing inside it. Simple statement, which is single line code. So it can also be called as single line statements. And compound statements, where we treat a group of statements as a single unit. Flow of control. What do you mean by flow of control? The flow of control of your program. How does your program flow? The order of execution of your program. It can be a sequential program. It could be a selection program. It could be iteration. It could be jump. So these are the keywords that help us to change the flow of control. If else, for, while, break, and continue. Now, break and continue are jump statements. Jump statements means, over here the word break. Break means it will terminate the loop, okay? And it will pass the control to the next set of statements, which is after break. Break means loop खत्म हो जाएगा. जो भी loop चल रहा है वो खत्म हो जाएगा. Loop के बाद जो statement है, ये वो run करेगा. और continue जो है, वो break का opposite करता है. अगर लूप के अंदर कंटिन्यू डाला तो कंटिन्यू जो कंट्रोल है वो लूप में ही रहेगा, वो लूप के बाहर नहीं आता है. Loop continue will not come out the loop, it will continue the loop, but it will not run any statements that are below or after continue in the loop body. Now, what happens is, let's say, for example, I'll give you a little example over here to understand break and continue a little better. अभी मैंने ले लिया for pardon my capitals, okay? In range. ठीक है, ये मैंने ऐसे लिख लिया. इसके बाद मैं लिख रही हूँ if x equals to 3, then I'm writing break. और उसके नीचे ही मैं लिख रही हूँ print x. ठीक है, ठीक है. ओके, अभी इस स्टेटमेंट को हम समझते हैं. तो क्या हो रहा है? For x in range 5, यानी कि ये चालू होगा. I'm sorry, over your indent should have been there. शायद मैंने डाला था, ये पता नहीं क्या हो गया. I'm feeling so white board ही ले लेती. I think when I write here it doesn't go. I'm writing all these so you understand it better. For I in range 5, and then we are going in the loop, so I'm putting the first print statement there. So you're able to understand exactly where the flow of control is going. Then I'm saying if x equals to 3, and again over here I'm going to first print that we are inside the if loop, inside the if statement. Okay, and then again over here I'm saying break, and again I'm going to put a print over here so you're still able to understand, still inside if statement. Okay, now I'm going to come out of my if statement. I'm still in the for loop. Okay, so I'm going to print in for after the print statement. All right, and here I am printing the value of I. All right. And now I am printing. This is outside this print statement, outside the for loop. The loop is now over. Okay. Now let's understand what would be the output of such a program. Okay, so for I in range 5, this should be indented. Okay, I'm sorry. Again, there should be an indentation here, and this entire thing is inside my if program. And this part, these, okay, so I will have to really draw the bodies, I think so, yeah. This entire thing is my for loop, okay. And another color so you'll be able to understand my if loop. Okay, so this is my if loop over here. This is my for loop, and this is outside the for loop. Okay, just a minute. Okay. So now what happens when I use break or continue? I'm going to demonstrate that to you. So when this program will run, it will go inside the for loop over here, and then what is going to happen is this is going to be printed. Okay, we are in for loop, and then sorry, this should be I. Okay, this should be if I equals to 3, 3. So I is not equal to 3, so this is not going to be output. So let's put the output screen here. Suppose, let's say this is my output A. So my A is printed here. This will not be printed because I equals to 0. Then again, this part will be printed. This will not be printed. The loop will go back. The loop will go back. I will become 1. Again, this will be printed. This will not be printed. Printed, go back. I becomes 2. This will be printed, not printed. Printed, go back. I becomes 3. Now, this is where you have to see. Now, it goes inside. We'll still print this. If x equals to 3, that means this is true. So it will print this inside the if statement. It will go to break, and it will come out of both the loops. So it's going to print this directly outside the for loop. The loop is now over. Okay, this happens when we use break. When you use break, it comes out of the loop. Okay, if there was a for loop here, suppose instead of if, it would just come out of one loop. It would not come out of 2 loops. But we were using if. If was a conditional statement, so it comes out of both the loops. Now, let's look at the concept if this was a continue. Let's assume this was a continue. In case of continue, it will only come out of this. In case of continue, the control goes back to the loop. These statements are not executed when I becomes 3. Only when I becomes 3, these statements are not executed. When it is 0, when it's 1, it is 2, it will be executed. 3, it will not be executed. Again, when it is 4, it will again be executed. Okay. Now, there is one statement that will never be executed in this program, and that is this. You'll never be able to see this output on your screen, because if x is 0, 1, 2, 4, or 5, in that case, it will go inside, it will print this, it will print all other statements. But when x becomes 3, it encounters break, so this statement is not executed. When x becomes 3, it will meet break, so this statement will not be executed. Suppose I write continue. Still, because this falls after continue, this is not executed. And when my x is 0, 1, or 2, we are not going in the if program. So this statement is not executed. So this statement is absolutely unnecessary. I hope this was very clear to you now, because when we are going to learn more complex programs, this kind of an understanding is going to become very, very important for you all. Okay, moving further, the types of programs. Now we've learned 3 types of programs: sequential, conditional, and looping. What do you mean by sequential? Sequential means that program runs one after the other. Sequential means that program runs one after the other. That entire flow of control is absolutely straight. You finish the first line of program, then the second line of program, then the third line of program. There are no jump statements. There is no decision making. There is no conditions given. It's a very simple program. These are the sequential programs. These were the programs we did in the beginning of June last year. We did sequential flow. Then we came to conditional. Conditional means we gave like a true and false route. That means we said, if your age is above 18, you can vote. If your age is below 18, you cannot. Very simple. If it's true, you do this. If it's false, you do this. At the end, you're going to end the program very well. There are no loops. There is no repetition of a code happening again and again and again. No. We are only doing what? We're doing conditional. We're just doing do this or do that. Do this or do that. Very, very simple. Correct? Yes, it is correct. Okay. So that is conditional. And then came looping. Looping made programming, it made your head go running in loops, because now it got confusing, it got more complex, and it became irritating to understand a piece of code. But looping makes your program strong, it makes your program compact, it makes your program more versatile. So looping is important. In looping, we had a piece of code that was repeated constantly by the programmer, by the interpreter, again and again and again and again, depending either on a fixed number of conditions or a condition that we gave. Depending on one of the two, these programs were running repeatedly. Okay? So these were the 3 types of programs we did in grade 11. Now, in the conditional, the first one, we did if else, we did if else, and then we did if else. So these are the valid orders of the if else statements. If else statements are basically decision making statements. They are the statements that make a decision. Okay? Sorry. Yes, the next one is for loops. So this was the conditional. This was the conditional program, the if-else program. Next is for loops. In for loops are basically the loops that we use, the looping construct. The loop meaning we use for loop when we are going to use it for a fixed number of times. When you know it for a fact that we need to run this program for a particular fixed duration. That is when we use the for loop. Now in for loop, we can use the, for variable, we use a loop control variable, and we use this variable in combination with a sequence or a range or a string or a tuple or a dictionary. Okay. So you can use for loops in a combination with a sequence. A sequence is basically string, tuple, or list. With a range function, with a dictionary function, we can use for loops for all these. And we always use a loop control variable. We use a variable that is set only for the for loop, and it can be used only in the for loop. And this is declared and defined in the same line as the for loop. Okay. So in the for loop, we learned the range function. Range function is used to create a sequence. It starts from 0 by default and it increases by 1 with every iteration. Also, in the range function, we have start, stop, and increment. We can mention different arguments. And the most important is to mention stop. Whether you mention start or skip is absolutely okay. But stop is mentioned. And whenever the variable turns to the number of stop, it completely stops running the for loop. That is how the for loop works. So for loop can also be used to iterate a list or a similar sequence, that is a string or a tuple. For loop also iterates indices. Indices means the indexes of a string or a list. And the for loop, okay, there is also an else statement that can be used with the for loop. And just like we have if else, we have for else. And the else statement is used only when this loop is terminated successfully. So if there's an abrupt stop to this for loop, else statement does not get any control. But if the for loop completes completely, the iterations are successfully completed, then the flow goes to the else statement of the for loop and then it goes down. Next is the while loop. Now, while is an infinite loop. It is a user-defined loop. And a while loop will keep running till the condition we give is true. Whenever that condition becomes false, it will stop running. In while loop, you must remember, if you have given a condition and there is no auto increment like in for loop, you must remember to increase, to put a piece of code that increases the value inside the loop. The else statement of while loop works the same as the else statement for loop. You go to the else statement. So you can use an else statement with while loop, but it will work only if the while loop terminates successfully. While loop can also be a single statement. So you say while true, do this, finished. There is no two way about it. It can happen in one statement also. Then we learned about the Python string. In Python strings, we learned how to declare it, how does the indexing work, we learned the format feature, we learned how to delete and update it, and we learned slicing of the string. Slicing of the string was very, very important because many questions come on that. Python string methods and functions that we have 7 here, but there are many more, and we have used quite a few of them ourselves. String is basically a combination of characters. These characters can be numerical and it can be alphanumerical, or it could be only alphabet. These are considered as a sequence, and you have to refer to these strings with their indexes. There are two indexes. There is forward indexing and there is backward indexing. There are some methods, inbuilt methods and functions that can be used with the Python string. First is strip. When there is lower and upper, that converts the case of the string. There is split, where you split the sentence into a list. There is replace, there's find, join, minimum, and maximum. Minimum and maximum will work on the numbers of a string, but if you are using it on the characters of the string, in that case, it will look at the ASCII value. It will look at the ASCII value of that number and then tell you which is minimum and which is maximum, depending on the ASCII value of that particular number. Okay. Okay. There are string operators. There are some operators that we can use with the string function. That is comparison operators, arithmetic operators, membership operators, identity operators, and logical operators. Now, comparison means when you compare two strings. Which one is bigger? Are they equal to each other, etc. Arithmetic is when you can concatenate two strings. You can even multiply two strings. When you multiply two strings, you can multiply a string with a number, and that string will be repeated that number of times. You concatenate the two strings, mix, and give you an output. Concatenation is addition. Membership is you can check is J in Jaini, is M in Manas, is X in Janvi. You can check for the membership. Identity is checking for its identification, is and not is. Logical operators. So and if J in Janvi and M in Manas and S in Sujoy, then so I have used the logical operator and to combine these. So these can be used with strings. Okay, so here I'm ending today's class with you all. Any of this you find difficult to understand, you all are finding a gap in understanding, you have to get in touch with me so that I know what do my students expect out of me. With these children, I end today's class. Stay home, stay safe, take care, keep learning.